I'm going to go over real quick some general rules in regards to fixing a comma splice. And I've just pulled up a page from Grammarly.com. It does a good overview of this rule, so you can also check it out yourself. But if you're not familiar with the terminology, essentially a comma splice is when you join two independent clauses with a comma and no conjunction. You may be less familiar with the term independent clause, but basically it's a sentence, right? Something that could stand alone as its own complete sentence. Now, you probably learned at an early age or early on in the writing process, your learning of writing, that you can combine two sentences with a comma and a conjunction in order to form a compound sentence. But essentially, we form a comma splice when we forget to put that extra word, that conjunction, the and or the but. In fact, if you're not familiar with them, a good acronym for conjunctions is the word fanboys. F for, A and, N nor, B but, O or, Y yet, and S so. Fanboys. But looking on this document, you can see an example of a comma splice here. Koala bears are not actually bears, comma, they are marsupials. Both of these could stand alone as their own complete sentence, right? Koala bears are not actually bears, period. They are marsupials, period. Okay, and so just putting a comma is a mechanical error. So let's take a look at some examples on how to fix it. There are basically three ways that you can fix a comma splice. The first one is by adding a conjunction. So if I see incorrectly, I am not angry with you, I am not happy with you either, we can simply combine those by putting a proper conjunction. This one shows, the word but shows contrast, so it fits here pretty well. I'm not angry with you, but I am not happy with you either. Okay, so that works, putting that conjunction there. You keep the comma, just add the conjunction after the comma. Number two, change the comma to a semicolon. So here I can just say, I'm not angry with you, semicolon, I'm not happy with you either. We often forget about the semicolon as a proper piece of punctuation. It functions much like a period. Usually it sort of connotates two sentences that are kind of closely related, associated with each other. And so when I think of like stop signals or traffic signals, I think of the semicolon as kind of like the yield instead of the stop. It's like you're kind of like coming to a stop, but kind of rolling past it because it leads so quickly onto the next sentence. I don't know if that makes sense to you in your head, but it does to me. So anyway, you can just put a semicolon. For the independent clause that comes after the semicolon, you will not capitalize it unless it's a word that would automatically be capitalized regardless, such as the word I. Next, you can fix a comma splice by simply turning the two independent clauses with a comma in between into complete sentences. I'm not angry with you, period. I am not happy with you either. Okay, so those are three ways to fix a comma splice. You can see some more examples of comma splices, and then there's a little blurb here at the bottom, are comma splices ever okay? And essentially it's saying that the grammar rule in formal or academic writing is to avoid comma splices. However, when you get especially into more creative writing, often those writing rules can be bent, maybe broken a little bit, but really you should be bending or breaking writing rules out of a place of understanding what the actual rule is, not simply because you don't understand the rule, okay? So it is important to understand and know and to avoid comma splices, especially in formal or academic writing. Much like comma splices, you can essentially use the same rules for fixing a run-on. A run-on is a more general comma splice in which you have two sentences without proper stop punctuation, but in a run-on, there's not even a comma. It just literally, I mean, you can see the word processor immediately detecting that this is wrong. I'm not angry with you, I'm not happy with you either. I have no punctuation there. But you can fix it in exactly the same way. Right? Put a comma and a conjunction, put the semicolon, or just stick a period. Okay, so you're fixing it in exactly the same way.